So in this video we're going to be going over an accuracy test that I did of my JR carbine. My name is Murray and you're watching 3BarD videos. So this right here is Tiny Tim, and it's a name I have for my Just Right carbine chambered in 9mm. So for this accuracy test, I shot two different distances, one being 50 meters, and then later on in the day I stretched it out to 100 meters. The weather conditions for this test were pretty optimal. The wind was very calm, so there was no breeze, and the temperature was right around -2 degrees. So that probably, it wasn't too cold, but it wasn't hot either, so I think that did probably a good thing for the barrel in terms of keeping the temperature down between shots. As far as features go on this firearm that would impact its accuracy, the first thing I'll note is this is a non-restricted Canadian version of the Just Right carbine. So this gun does have an 18.6-inch barrel on it, unlike a lot of the US versions, I believe, have a 17-inch barrel. So that might change its accuracy slightly between this and the US counterparts. Another thing you can clearly see on this firearm is I do have a Vortex Strike Eagle 1-6 equipped to the firearm, and for this test I did have it cranked right out to 6 power for the shooting to aid in aiming and whatnot. And the final thing I will point out is, surprisingly, I do still have the factory trigger equipped in this firearm. I just saw no need to upgrade it. I quite enjoy the trigger on this firearm, so that's what I used, factory trigger. I only used two different types of ammo for this test, and that is mainly because I don't really have a wide selection of ammo in my collection. When it comes to 9mm, I tend to buy it bulk, and I find a particular brand that my guns and my pistols like, and I'll just buy a whole bunch of it. So unfortunately I didn't have much to work with for this test, but the two different types of ammo that I used was Wasp Munitions, 124 grain jacketed hollow points. So that's my go-to hunting 9mm round that I use in this carbine a whole bunch because it's super reliable. In my experiences, it seems to be pretty accurate too. And that's a local brand ammunition that's made right here in Alberta, Canada. And then the final round that I used is something I bought recently, bulk, for a 3-gun shooting with my CZ pistol, and that is Blazer Brass 124 grain full metal jacket. So those are the two different types of ammo I used. So here we have the results from the test. I'm going to go through all the 50 meter groups first, and then we'll finish off with the 100 yard one, or the 100 meter one. So these first two groups here, this is this particular page is with the Wasp munitions ammo, which I found to be kind of the most accurate, generally, ammo that I shoot for this gun. These first two groups are the sighting groups, so I kind of dismissed these because I did a little bit of scope tweaking between shots in them to get her close on paper. Surprisingly, it was off at 50 meters, which I thought I had it sighted in to be pretty much bang on at 50 meters. But as you can see by these other groups, I corrected that issue. So this first group down here is 0.82 inches in diameter. And for these groups, I did measure with a digital caliper from center to center of the outermost bullets. So these groups are center to center, 5-shot groups. So 0.82 inches for that one. This one is 2.12 inches. This one up here is 1.05 inches. And this final one over here is 1.81 inches. Oh, it's a 4-shot group. I put that note down here. So who knows? That might have been due to a mag that I had loaded oddly or something like that. One thing I will say is for all these groups that I shot for this test, I felt very confident about all of them. I shot these groups off, fully supported off that red rest that you saw in the beginning of the video, my MTM kill zone rest, I believe it's called. Very nice rest. I did have a guy shoot next to me for some of these groups. I did have a guy next to me shooting a very obnoxious VZ58, a little short bastard with a really loud break on it. But surprisingly, like, I shot this group when he was shooting right next to me, so obviously his loud gun didn't really affect these groups, because this group here is with the Blazer Brass 124 grain, and it measures 0.75 inches at 50 meters. This group over here is 2.5 inches. This one somehow opened up quite a bit. I think this is the first one I shot with the Blazer Brass. I was quite surprised by it. 3.07 inches. And then this one up here is 1.74 inches. So generally, if you dismiss this 3/4 inch group here, the Blazer Brass doesn't seem to be quite as tight as the Wasp munitions ammo. Here's the second page I shot with the Wasp munitions ammo, because it's the most accurate, so I thought I'd test it a little bit more. This group here is 1.14 inches in diameter. This one's 1.92 inches. This one's 1.20 inches, and this one's 1.31 inches. So it seems like the JR carbine is definitely showing at 50 meters. It groups 5 shots with this particular ammo that I'm using right around anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inches pretty reliably. If you were to do an average. I didn't do an average for this, but I'm just going off. That's kind of what I see right now. And finally, here's the 100-yard or the 100-meter JR group. 5 shots with the Wasp munitions, because that's the most accurate ammo I have. And you can see it. You know, at 100 meters, that really is a stretch for 9mm. So I feel like even though the gun might shoot, say, 2 MOA at 50 meters with 9mm ammo, I find the extra distance it travels going 100 meters gives the environment that much more chance to affect the ballistics of the round. So I feel like you'll find that at 100 meters, the groups just might not be quite as consistent to what it's at 50 meters. So you can see this is the first group I shot. I wasn't impressed by this. 4.43 inches. But then things got a little bit more consistent and made me happy. I shot 2 more groups after that just to make sure that this wasn't a fluke like this. Even though I felt confident about all of these. This one's 3.40 inches. And this one's 3.48 inches in diameter. So generally these 2 groups kind of are representative of what you saw in the other papers, but they are a little bit, you can see it opened it up a little bit at 100 meters. Which doesn't surprise me. So going off this accuracy test, it appears that the non-restricted Canadian version of the Just Right carbine chambered in 9mm seems to get right around 2 to 3 MOA with 5-shot groups of ammo that it likes. And I personally am quite satisfied with this. For the purpose that I bought this rifle for, as a small game hunting rifle mostly, and then as well as a plinker. I find that 2 to 3 MOA complements the ballistics of the 9mm quite well. basically, if you're like me and you consider the maximum effective range of 9mm to be 100 meters, that 2 to 3 MOA pretty much assures you that this rifle will pretty reliably hit the kill zone of most small game animals up to 100 meters, as well as most targets you're going to be engaging for plinking purposes. Like, unless you're shooting a metal plate less than 3 inches in diameter at 100 meters, this rifle is pretty much guaranteed to hit it with good ammo. So, all in all, very satisfied with the accuracy from this carbine, and it also appears to be pretty much on par with all of its competition. So, I've yet to really witness pistol caliber carbines shoot much better than 2 MOA, but yet there is a lot of other carbines out there that do also shoot 2 to 3 MOA. So it seems to be kind of the gold standard, 2 to 3 MOA for most pistol caliber carbines, and the JR definitely falls in that. So that pretty much concludes this test. I hope you found this video helpful, and until next time, take care.